Welcome to the Sauce Pod. Every week we serve up the secret sauce for content creators and creative entrepreneurs. Welcome back to the Sauce Pod. I'm Taylor, your host of the Sauce, along with Anna, my co-host and content creator and editor of the Sauce Weekly newsletter. We release a new episode wherever you stream your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, on our site, on our Substack, or you can also catch it as a video on YouTube every week. You can also find us regularly on Twitter Spaces, where we dive deeper into these topics that matter for content creators, AI enthusiasts, Web3 nerds, all of the above. If that sounds like you, come check us out. And we've also got a Discord community that you can come hang out in. So one more thing also, don't forget to subscribe to us. We would love your subscription over on Substack. That's really where the heart of a lot of what we talk about goes to. All of our podcasts get published there as well. We write our newsletter through there every week. So definitely check us out on Substack. You can find us at thesauceffs.substack.com. That's where you can subscribe to our Substack. So, Anna, let's get into it. We've got a lot to cover this week. We've got YouTube Shorts versus IG Reels, the great showdown. Let's see how that pans out. Got a bunch of Twitter updates today, so we'll save those for later. And then at the end, we're going to cover some AI news, including a really big one from GPT with the new plugins, got Google Bard, Adobe has their Firefly situation happening, and then, of course, Midjourney V5, we can't get away from it. So starting off the top, let's get into TikTok. What do we got this week?
Yeah, so they're in court is in session, I guess, recently, right now. So the CEO, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name, but we're just going to call him Mr. Chu. He's basically there fighting for TikTok's survival in the US. Of course, there's a bunch of lawmakers, the Capitol, that want TikTok to be banned completely from the US. But Chu is not exactly instilling confidence for anyone. He didn't exactly deny that ByteDance isn't accessing user data. So a lot of people are saying that his testimony are just raising more questions instead of giving answers on what TikTok is doing. And I guess this part is funny. TikTok, I guess, sent out like an army of influencers to Washington, D.C. to make the case that the app is like a net positive for society. There's over 45% of the population uses TikTok in the US. And I guess Chu's message overall is like, do you really want to ban this? Like 150 million monthly users in the US. Do you really want to make that many people mad by banning TikTok? I have a link in the newsletter that kind of breaks down the internet's favorite moments of the hearing so far. That one's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Newsletter, check it out.
I've seen that. So what is, like, how many more hearings, how much more do they have before a decision is actually made? And is this all just
Actually, I don't
like
know.
smoke and mirrors, or is this real? Because I've heard like a lot of chatter around, this has obviously become like quite an inflammatory topic on Twitter and on TikTok itself. And obviously it affects the livelihoods of many of the creators that, earn a living off of TikTok or use TikTok as their primary channel source for their audiences, their followers. So it would be a huge bummer if something happens. I have no doubt that something else would pop up right away. Like, that's definitely not a concern, but it's just that onboarding process and rebuilding from scratch. I think that would be really disappointing to so many. But I've heard that a lot, like, these congressional hearings have focused a lot so far on TikTok not being like a place for children and like safety concerns being mounted around it.
Spreads misinformation. Yeah.
Safety concerns, the issue of idealism for children who are still growing up, and like, what does this image project and stuff like that. And I think if the hearing is focused around that, then I think it misses the mark of like why TikTok should be illegal. Like, it's not even a good argument to say that it's not safe or it's not.
Because that's any social media app. That's not just TikTok.
Go look at Snapchat, go look at what Meta's done over the years. Go look at fucking Twitter, for Christ's sake. Like, it is a mess, and it's not it's a separate conversation around safety and like user base and those kind of things. I think that this conversation that should be happening with the hearings is around TikTok's lack of data handling or data management, right? We know
Transparency about what
the
they're
transparent
doing. Yeah.
like, we know that TikTok is using the shit out of all of our data, like, fine, we know that. I'm sure it's a political concern also because it's tied to the CCP, there's definitely, like, a political concern there, and I think that
Mhm.
that's probably more of the underlying reasoning for canceling TikTok than these, so-called, like, safety concerns with children and misinformation and content. Like, those are just seems like to be the scapegoat for, like, okay, this is the reason we're putting TikTok on the stand. But the reality of it
Right.
is that, like, if this is truly a data mismanagement or a data user privacy handling issue, then that should be the topic of the conversation, not these wide scale issues that literally all social platforms face. That's a totally separate, and it warrants a separate conversation, I think, because I agree with a lot of, like, the standpoints. It's just that that's not why TikTok's, like, on stand here.
On this right.
Yeah, yeah, so I hope that obviously TikTok doesn't get canceled, but if it does, we'll be waiting for the next one to pop up. TikTok is one of my favorite apps.
Instagram is waiting.
Yes, Instagram is just over there. Although, Instagram is actually kind of in the back seat when it comes to, like, vertical short form content right now. Give us the latest on what this whole, like, YouTube Shorts versus Reels thing is happening.
It's funny to me because, of course, Meta is sitting there like, "Oh my god, yay, TikTok's gonna disappear." And then we see this, like, not really new data, we kinda, I think, already
Mhm.
knew this a little bit, but this data about YouTube Shorts kind of taking over, like, or definitely taking the lead from Instagram Reels. So in 2020, Reels was the front runner for these short vertical videos, but if you can see in this screenshot I put in here, YouTube has spiked, and while YouTube is spiking, Instagram is going down, or Instagram Reels are going down. And I think one of the main reasons for this is YouTube pays the best. Like, for every 1,000 views, you get anywhere from $7 to $18. Instagram, or at least now, does not do that at all. You're kind of reliant on brand partnerships if you're on Instagram. TikTok, with their
Yeah.
creator fund, you get 4 cents for the same number of views. So definitely that, like, financial incentive.
Instagram just shut down their Reels monetization program too, which totally sucks.
Yeah, the only way you're gonna make money is if you have a brand deal on Instagram and you have a
Yeah.
bunch of followers. Yeah.
That sucks. So it's almost like, why would you even if you're one of your main goals as a creator is to monetize your content, your shorts content, like, why would you even look at Instagram anymore beyond, those brand partnership deals because
Mhm.
you're not making so it makes sense. We've kind of, like, known this and we've sort of trend spotted it from a while back that, like, YouTube Shorts has some definite potential to play in this sandbox, especially even going head to head competing with sort of the TikTok user share and creator share that are creating there. So I think it's going to be an interesting kind of way to see this all shake out even further.
Mhm.
But, I'm here for it. YouTube Shorts, we've always
Okay.
loved it. I scroll on YouTube Shorts more often than I used to. Like, especially these days, I'll find myself if I'm on YouTube on my phone, like, I'll find myself just kinda hanging out in the shorts section for quite a while. And I think it's definitely, like, a different feel to TikTok as well. I
Mhm.
don't even give Reels a chance. I'm sorry, IG, but, like, I've hated it for
Yeah,
a while. I've actually hated it since it started, and I still am not a fan. So we're okay with that kind of, like, fading into the distance. Just
the
let
background.
the other ones handle it. We're good.
Yeah. Be a photo app,
Yeah,
Instagram.
do your photo app
Focus your
thing.
energy somewhere else. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Tell us what's going on over at Twitter, though.
I'll start out with a fun story just because this one is just fun. Elon is, I guess,
Peak
trying to be a
trolling.
troll.
Mhm,
Yes, exactly. So he tweeted out on March 19th that press@twitter.com will auto respond with the poop emoji.
mhm,
So ever since Elon took over and let a bunch of people go, Twitter has stopped communicating with journalists. So there's just been
mhm.
months of silence. But now you can get a response. It's just not going to be a real response. It's going to be the poop emoji. So
We love it.
it's great.
What can you expect from, like, Twitter at this point? It's kind of just like, okay.
It's just
It's, like, not a
clown
real
show at
company.
this point. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. So what else do we have?
The next story is a little infuriating. Twitter is going to start removing legacy blue check
Mhm,
marks. We kind of saw this coming. Of course, Elon wants to get money from the people that aren't paying for his Twitter Blue yet, and to reach that, you kind of have to remove some of the check marks that people didn't pay for. So I think, or at least as far as I read, as of next week, those legacy blue check marks will be removed. People with a legacy blue check will start to see a notification that says, "Don't lose your blue check, subscribe to Twitter Blue to keep your blue check mark." So I think it's a little bit ridiculous. I don't think that businesses that have their blue check mark are going to start paying $1,000 a month for their verification for business. I think they'll just be like, okay, we're going to let the blue, or what color is it for them? It's not a blue color for them.
It's gold for businesses, I believe. But, like,
Okay.
who's gonna pay that? Especially if they're nonprofit organizations or, like, smaller businesses that have been legacy verified in the early aughts of Twitter's history, like, who's gonna cough up $1,000 a month for business verification? And then even some of the, like, personal brands and people of notoriety who have gotten their blue verification over years of tweeting or reporting or whatever it is, like, it sucks for those
Mhm.
people who aren't.
Worked so hard for it, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
You start to lose some of the charm of the blue check. It's
yeah,
just like the only signal that this check is showing is that I'm rich enough to pay the 8, $12 a month, whatever it
yeah,
is at this point, $1,000 a month. And I am funding, Elon's
yes.
next venture. That's all it's signaling.
Yeah, it's 100%, like, I no longer even like, there's no weight on a person's content or a brand's content when I'm reading it, whether it has the blue check mark or not at this point, because in my
Mhm.
head, it's just you either pay for it or you don't. That's it.
That's all it is.
That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
But interesting nonetheless, and then what else do we have? Twitter's source code was leaked, right? What was that whole situation about?
So we talked maybe a month or two ago about Elon saying he was actually going to put this source code out into the wild.
The algorithm, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And people were going to be able to see it. But I guess this happened a couple months ago, his source code was leaked
Mhm.
online. And I guess they contacted GitHub to try to get it removed, which is where it was as a copyright infringement notice. And GitHub ended up taking it down. But yeah, it appeared to have been public for at least several months. So, according
Mhm.
to Elon, this is like giving hackers making Twitter a prime target for their future attacks. And now people can start to clone Twitter and make copycat
Mhm.
apps. He's just in disarray over there.
It does make me think, like, whether or not that was potentially an intentional leak or not, because that just seems so messy.
They're claiming it was a disgruntled employee or former employee.
Because that's a pretty big deal, right? And, like, if they were planning to make the algorithm and the source code transparent and available to the public at some point anyways, I'm sure that there would be stuff that's, like, redacted or not visible. It's just, like, the irony of they were talking about it and then, "Oops, it got leaked, but no, we didn't mean it to." It does, like,
But it's been there for a few months.
yes, it does trigger some, like, ideas of, could this be just a PR placement? Nothing like, I wouldn't put anything past Twitter, Elon Musk at this point, honestly, so it could be, but either way, it's definitely, like, a big gaping hole in their security issues, which
Yeah.
yikes. I mean, there's only, like, 4 people working at Twitter anymore, so
What can we expect? Yeah.
yeah, but speaking of things that Twitter is doing to apparently enrich the creator, user, author experience is text formatting is like a step closer to being a reality. So if you didn't think that Twitter's feed was already jumbled enough with the video content, the photos everywhere, all the different colored badges of people you follow, you will soon be able to actually format your text tweets using like italic, bold, underline. I don't know how I feel about it. I probably will test it out once it rolls out, but I'm a little bit, on the fence as to whether this is even, like, a good use of Twitter's time and value. Like, your source code literally leaked, and this is the stuff that you guys are putting out. Like, there are some major issues happening on Twitter right now, but if text formatting makes it all better, I'm here for it. I just think that, like, already our Twitter feeds are kind of getting clogged up. They're veering further and further away from the original intent of Twitter, which is just like a real time update sharing platform, text based platform. And there's all kinds of different like multimedia formats on there. Now you have all the different color like badges and verifications, and it's just it's a lot. Like it makes looking at the feed, there's some mock-ups that we've included, like some screenshots as well from somebody who spotted this in the back end, and it does just look really a lot. It's intense. You have to see it. You have to see it and judge for yourself, and then just let us know because I'm not feeling it, but it could be a thing if used wisely. We shall see. Let's talk about the AI scoop, Anna. What do we got for AI news this week? The GPT plugins is a big one, so tell us about that.
This was exciting. Yeah, so there's a wait list technically for it, but there's now a wide variety of plugins that can make some crazy things possible with ChatGPT, like ordering groceries from
Mhm.
Instacart, booking travel on like Expedia and Kayak, making restaurant reservations on Open Table. ChatGPT's use cases just like went through the roof with these
Mhm.
plugins. So previously, ChatGPT isn't necessarily up to date on like all the latest news. So say
Mhm.
if you were to ask ChatGPT to write an essay about like the latest from Selena Gomez and the Hailey Bieber drama, it would only be
Mhm.
able to reference the information it was originally trained on before this plugin. But
Mhm.
now it will be able to pull and look up like the whatever is the latest circulating online. And there's a couple different apps that it can now integrate with, including like Shopify, Slack, Klarna. Like I said, there's a wait list, so there's only select users at the moment, but it does seem like
Mhm.
they're gonna, this is gonna be something that's gonna be widely available in the near future.
It's crazy. I was reading up on this a little bit last week, and someone had tweeted something about the development process for this plugin is one of the craziest things that they've ever experienced as a developer. Instead of actually like coding and programming the plugin to work the way you want it to, it's literally just all natural language. So you tell it what you want it to do, and it builds the plugin that way.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, it's still, like still waitlist, and I'm sure tons of, like, iterations and improvements just for accessibility of people who wanna use these plugins are still probably happening and will be happening over rapidly over the course of the next few months, but I can't wait to get my hands on these. I'm very excited because this totally just, like, opens the floodgates of what you can do on a creator level, a business level, marketing, for so many things. It removes that barrier of needing to even, like, develop one yourself.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's crazy. I can't wait to see what this does. This is changing. Guys, we're living in history as it's happening right now. GPT in general, GPT-4, ChatGPT, and now these plugins are just totally altering the way that we interact with technology, the way that we get information and put it back out into the world. So, I, for one, am very into it. What's happening with Google Bard though? Because I've been hearing some chatter that Bard is out. I don't know if there's still a wait list.
It is still a wait list.
Oh, okay.
But it seems like people are starting to get access a lot quicker now.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Google has obviously been very slow to release their AI solution tool, but I guess Bard would be very similar to like ChatGPT. It's going to answer your questions in a
Mhm.
human-like conversational tone. But Google is definitely trying to cover their butt here because when you pull it up, like everywhere you're looking, they're like, this is still an early experiment. Some of this can display inaccurate or offensive information. Like that is just everywhere when you're looking. There's more disclaimers in here than like if you were to go on a bungee jumping like expedition.
Yeah,
Like this is like a use at your own risk.
they're totally covering their asses big time with it.
Yeah, they don't want Bard to be viewed as a replacement to Google. It's supposed to be like a complement to Google. So,
Of course, because that would undermine Google's entire bottom line if that happened.
exactly.
Okay, I see it. Alright, so it's around, and I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think that Google Bard runs on GPT 3.5 or 4. It's proprietary, their model that they use, I
Mhm.
think. So that makes it different because unlike Google Bard, Bing Chat, which I forget its name. It had a name, right? Is Sydney? Is it Sydney?
Well, Sydney is its code name. She didn't want us to know.
Yeah, okay,
What
yeah,
is
her
it
secret
called?
name. I think it's just Bing Chat maybe? I don't know, but Bing Chat uses which is Microsoft's product, they use
Mhm.
GPT-4, which is the latest language model from OpenAI, AKA what ChatGPT uses. Well, ChatGPT uses 3.5. Anyways, I digress, but it's really
I
interesting.
just Googled it because I actually wasn't sure either, but Bard's using Google's patent ML program Law MDA.
Yeah, figures. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, I am on the wait list still because when you said that, I was like, "Oh, is the wait list over?" But no, I'm still on the wait list, and you can join it. We added a link in the newsletter this week as well to where you can add yourself to that wait list. In other AI news, another big one that dropped recently, aka a couple days ago, was Adobe Firefly. So this is a big deal because it's Adobe's sort of big AI image generation push to the market. So tell us about what
Mhm,
Adobe Firefly is, what's it looking like, what you can do with
mhm.
it, how it's in testing. Give us the scoop, Anna.
Yeah, so the or I guess this first model is offering like a text to image engine as well as the ability to kind of do like visual text effects in their font collection. But I think the cool thing about Firefly is it's addressing two huge issues that have come about with AI, which is like copyright issues. But Adobe is, I guess, using like their stock images from their public domain and then think there was one other thing that they were using, or it's just content that's free from any of the copyrighted
Oh,
nuances
yeah,
that
yeah,
we're
yeah, like
seeing.
Creative Commons or Creative Commons licensing, I heard.
Exactly. So that's
Mhm.
kind of where their AI is pulling from, which starts to take away some of those issues that we're seeing with people with the copyright concerns. I have not tried it out for myself, but it looks very, very cool.
It's pretty cool. I've only played around with it once. I need to get back into it. I have been on a mid-journey kick, which I'll talk about in a minute. But from what like, it seems like you can do a lot more with very little text input as well. I'm loving it. I don't have enough experience in it yet to really speak or compare it to some of the other platforms. But from what I've seen, it is pretty powerful and pretty stunning. Like the aesthetics of these images is gorgeous. Oh, and one other update, actually 2 more updates that I wanna add. Sorry, Anna, this is a last minute addition, but last week, Canva rolled out a whole suite of AI tools. Canva Create conference happened last, Thursday or Friday, I don't know, but they do this, like, big conference once a year where they talk about all the big updates to the platform. Canva officially announced that they are integrating a bunch of new AI tools into the Create platform into overall on Canva, and a lot of them are live now. They've been kind of dripping out some of these updates over the last few months. I've sort of spotted them behind the scenes and gotten to play with some stuff, but I wrote a really great thread. I mean, I think it's really great, but I just did like a recap of everything that got announced at Canva Create and some of the updates that people are seeing, which includes stuff like you can now erase parts of your image in Canva and then generate a complementary image of whatever you want to go into that spot where you erased it, which is technically just called like in painting. You can do that on a lot of these other AI, text to image platforms as well, but you haven't been able to do it on Canva until now. They've also got a bunch of updates with like their editing tools, so like background removal of anything for like static or still images. There's a bunch of new features, filters, options. There's also like the text. This has been around for a while, but like the GPT model of like just expanding text using an AI text generator. That's also
Mhm.
baked into Canva now. There's a lot of really cool stuff. The brand kit, or they're calling it the brand hub now, where you can house all of your brand assets like logo, color, things like that. You can actually upload additional assets now, including like, mood board images and things that sort of define your brand style. And you can generate images and brand assets based on that. So overall, I'm, like, so thrilled with some of these Canva updates. Oh, layers. You have layers now on Canva, which is huge. As a designer, it's a big
No.
yeah,
Are
you
you
got layers.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh my
So that makes
god,
me really
okay.
happy. It's been great. All of these updates are awesome. Definitely check out the newsletter for the full thread of everything that got announced. And then the other last AI update I'll leave you guys with is we talked about last week how amazing Midjourney, the latest iteration of Midjourney, which is a text to image generator that you can access through Discord. The latest iteration of their algorithm, V5, is incredible. It's so like super powered compared to some of the other previous versions, especially when it comes to real life content, like real life images. You can make images that look like they never happened or that look like they happened, but they never really did. So last week I
Mhm.
tweeted out like the Harry Potter crew going on a rave in the 90s, hanging out at Hogwarts. Like you got Ron, you got Hermione, you got Harry P, you've got Hagrid. They're having a great time and it looks like it happened and it looks like it was captured on Polaroid images. So I included the link to that thread as well in the newsletter just to kind of show you a little bit about what you can do with some of this like technology. It's crazy. Of course, there's the big ethical concern and lots of debates that are still unfolding. But in the meantime, like my mission and goal with a lot of this new tech that's hitting us all in the faces is just to be able to understand it, how to use it in the right way, to kind of test the flexibility and limits of it. And so that's what I've kind of been doing with Midjourney lately. I have a mini series going of different like notable figures and people and celebrities in very atypical juxtaposing scenarios. So I'm gonna keep dripping those out over the next couple weeks. I released one today that was like the Mona Lisa if she was at a grunge party in the 90s. What would that look like?
Oh
So
my
you can find
god.
that one on Twitter. It's so fun. I can't stop making them. I can't stop, you guys. But that's what's happening with Midjourney. If you haven't even tried Midjourney yet, you can take a test run of it in our Discord server. I will include the link in our description of this podcast today so that you can kind of hang out, test it out. I think you get like a certain number of credits for free if you've never used it before. But it is truly incredible the capability of this tool and many others like it, including like Firefly, for example. So that's the AI scoop this week, you guys, and it's only going to keep going from here. Every week, we've
Mhm.
been doing Friday Twitter Spaces with Heather Cooper, with Matt Wolf, with Linus Echtenstein. I can't say his last name, so I'm sorry, Linus, if you're listening to this. Bilaval is there. We've got a whole crew of people who show up every week, every Friday to like break down what the hell is going on in the world of AI, especially as it pertains to like creatives and smaller businesses like us. So stop by this Friday to see what's happening. Every week we're like, holy shit, there's so much to cover. And it just keeps happening, you guys. The pace at which AI is developing is absurd. And somebody has to keep a pulse on it. So we're helping to do that and break it all down in easy to digest chunks of information so that it actually makes sense. But it's changing the way that we work, you guys. So definitely keep a finger on the pulse. Be paying attention to what's happening out there. It'll all happen too fast, and then we're gonna all wake up next year and be like, "What the hell? Everything's AI." How it goes.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
I know, but that is a whole separate conversation we could have. All right. Well, I think we powered through a lot of what we needed to talk about today. So I will go
We
ahead,
did.
Anna, and let you get back to your day. I'm going to get back to my crazy day, probably spending some more time on Midjourney. But definitely subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can see everything that we've covered in this podcast. You can also access our older podcast if you want to hear what's been happening over the last few weeks. You can see all of our previous newsletters and the content that we've been putting out on Substack. And as a reminder, that's the sauce FFS, like Frank Sally .substack.com. So go hit us up and subscribe there and then just, be on the lookout for a new podcast dropping every week. Thank you, Anna. Anything else that you want to add?
Nope, we covered it.
All right, we did it. Until next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Sauce Pod. Hope you enjoyed yourself, maybe even learned a thing or two. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also subscribe to our newsletter that goes out every Monday night. All of the latest and greatest tips, news, and trends for content creators and digital entrepreneurs. Until next time, stay saucy.